Omar, how are you?
Hi, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yes, yesterday what we did, we connected to our SQL database via our Azure DevOps,
All right.
and we inserted a table in our SQL database, and we created a build pipeline, and then we created a release, and we saw the web page on our Azure web page. And before that, we also did it locally. So today, what we'll do, instead of embedding username and password of SQL database, we will use connection string. This is a secure way of connecting to database. So because if we hard code our username and password in code, anybody can see and it's not secure. So for that purpose, what the first step will we do? We'll create a web app. We'll create a SQL database, and we will create a project in Visual Studio, and then we create this connection string in so we will create connection string in our DB, SQL DB,
Okay.
and then we copy these details into our Visual Studio Code. Then we create a new repository in Azure. Sorry, in repository in Azure DevOps, and then create a build after configuring YAML file. And we'll do the steps after as soon as we complete this. So if we go back to our virtual machine, so first thing what we do is if you just go to our, so like yesterday we had this, we embedded our username and password. What today what we'll do, instead of that, we'll use our connection string.
Okay.
So if you go to our portal and log on to portal, right, so first thing we do, we go to our resource group. We are creating a web app. Go to resource group and create a web app. We call it, first of all, just search in the marketplace, type web app, and this one. So we quickly do this create, and we call it, just say SQL app connection string. I think you can't use a hyphen. Just call it connection. Yeah.
Right.
Connection string. We use code 6. Windows is fine. UK South. UK South. UK South. Where is UK South? Yep. And we have got already a plan there. Use that one. We don't need database here. Deployment. Keep it default. Public access yes. Network monitoring. We don't need any application site tag. Right. So what we have done recently, so we have created the web app, and now
Yep.
we create our SQL database. So
Yes.
if we go back to our virtual machines, go to our resource group, we are in here, create our SQL database, search for SQL database, and SQL database. and we create, and we call it cache DB. Create a server, call it cache SQL SVR in UK South, and with SQL authentication, SQL USR, and password PASSWORD 123 exclamation, PASSWORD 123 exclamation. Okay, and next, yes, we go to networking, and public endpoint.
Yes.
Select this. So basically you want access from public endpoint. Allow Azure services and resources to access this server. Click yes. Add current client IP address. Click to yes. Leave this as default. TLS version is fine. Next, security. Just leave it disable at the moment or as a default. And leave this as default. Create and create. We come back when it's created. Right, so our SQL server is created. So what we will do, we just log on to this database and insert our table.
Yep.
So what will happen when we insert this table, then we will connect this database to our web app, which we created. If we duplicate this, so this is our web app, SQL connection string, SQL app connection string web app. So first what we do, we have got this code. If we open our notepad, which we recorded, notepad plus, and we have this table. So we will insert this table.
Yes.
So if we go to our query and log in again, ORD 123. Okay. Don't tell me again, please. Let's try again. Yes, it's connected. There was exclamation mark in there. So what do we do here? We copy paste our table. Yeah, and click run.
Yes.
Run. And query succeeded. Affected rows 3.
Yeah, we go on tables and top.
Yeah, and we do that. Select top 1000 rows. It's all working. So the insert statement and table which we created for our SQL database is fine. So that the end game, what we need to see this table when we launch our web app and it show via the web app portal. And we will all do this by creating a build and a release pipeline. To do this, first we need to create a connection string in our SQL database.
Yeah.
So okay, I just reiterate again. So we were over here in query editor before, and so we need to copy the connection string. Click OK. So we need to copy this connection string to our web app, and create a connection string in web app and add these values. So let me copy this to make it life easier. What do we do is just create a notepad, like create notepad file, just copy there, and if we just do format word wrap, so if you can see this here, can you see password anyway? Yeah, password equal to, so we change our password here
Yeah.
to PASSWORD 123 mark. Yeah, so that's
Yes.
fine. So if we copy that, and now what we'll do, we will create a connection string in our web app.
Yes.
So if you go to our configuration, come on, yep, it's
Okay.
taking time. So we go to click here to go to our environment variable menu,
Yeah.
go
Connection strings.
to connection strings, and we just call it our SQL. Actually, just let's delete this and we create a new one. So we call it SQL connection,
Yes.
and copy the value here. Oops, yeah, that's right. And we choose our SQL Azure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's done. And so we don't need this, delete that. And now we can apply.
Yeah.
Confirm. And now we don't need to save it. So now, so we have created our SQL database, SQL server, inserted our table in our database. We created a connection string in, we created a connection string in our DB. We added the connection string to our DB to our, now we need to add this connection string into our database. Basically, we'll add a connection string name, actually, not settings. So I'll show you the code in there. So if you go back to our machine, if you go to SQL core, so we open our project, the one we downloaded earlier. We have that
Okay.
in earlier, and that's already been provided in our GitHub repository. So the best way to do is, I'll just, like you said, if you go to the folder, file explorer, and this one,
Yeah.
if you double click that,
We open that one and right click onto the.
yes, good. Open with Visual Studio.
Yes.
Okay, so we open the project. So if we can see this product services CS file, class file. So we see this product. You can see these product services here, and
Mm.
this is the setting here that will connect to our SQL connection when we do a build pipeline and release. So all the settings here, if you remember that we called it SQL connection,
Yes.
it's the same as like same, it has to be same, exactly the same way, SQL connection. So to do this, we're going to be pushing this repository into our Azure DevOps. So to do this, we can do git and create local repository.
Mm-hmm.
Open local. Sorry, one second. Right. So we can push this repository to our Azure. Oh, okay. Yes, we can do this. Push it to Git service,
Yep.
and we choose Azure DevOps. This is my account. If you go to, it takes time to load. Cloud Soldier, and our project is, oops, Cloud Soldier, and project is Web App AZ400.
Mm-hmm.
There's already a SQL app there, so we can call it SQL app. What do you call it? SQL
Two.
app 2, yeah.
Yep.
You call it 2, and push it. Right, push it. So to make sure we have got pushed, so if you go to our repo Azure DevOps, so this is our DevOps. This is our project. Again, let me show you again. So this is our project, and in this project we have got different repos. So if you go to repos, we can see we got few of them, and this is the one we just pushed, SQL app 2.
Mm.
So if you go back there now, so now what we'll do, we will create a build pipeline for it so we can have a build artifacts, and then we'll use that artifacts when we create our release pipeline, and the code will be pushed to our web app. Yeah.
All right.
So let's do a set a build pipeline, ASP.NET Core, and I just replaced this because we don't need all of the tasks. So if I go to my notepad, I will copy all this in my GitHub. So if you go to
Okay.
Azure Pipeline, select all, and select copy, go back here, and then right click paste. Okay, so now we have got, so we call this SQL app 2 artifact.
Yep.
And so we got different tasks. We're using Windows latest. We got a NuGet installer. We got build, which is going to do our build, and this task will publish, and this task will publish and convert into our zip folder after publishing. Yeah, so
All right.
we go and save and run. Yeah, that's fine. Save and run. Creating a pipeline. So its pipeline is created. This is the number. So if you click job, so it's acquiring an agent. From there, let's see when it finishes, and we come back.
Okay.
Okay, now what we were doing, if we go back to our build, so hopefully the build been completed.
Mm-hmm.
So now we will use this artifact in our release pipeline. So
Yeah.
if we go to pipeline now, so if you go to release pipeline and create a new pipeline, yeah,
Yep.
and we call it empty job, and we call it SQL DB release pipeline. Yeah, and
Yep.
we also called this deploy. Stage name we call to deploy SQL DB table on web app, Azure web app. Yeah. Okay, and we
Okay.
click save. Save, done. Okay, now before we add any tasks, let's add our artifact. So this is our project. We're using source type build artifact, and the source is SQL2.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it, all done. Click add. It is done. We don't need any continuous integration, all that. So if you go to our task, and because it is a .NET project, so we choose for Azure Web App, .NET for deploy on Azure Web App. This one.
Yep.
Add, and we just call it Azure Web App Deploy, what are we going to call it? Select our subscription,
Okay.
and this one, and app type, Windows, app name, drop down. This one, this is a web app we created, SQL app,
Yep.
connection string, and just leave it as default. Save it. Now we need to another task that was apps SQL app settings, something like that. I'm not sure, can't remember. SQL app settings.
Yes. SQL app settings. Type it all together. No, Azure app settings.
Azure app settings. Are you sure?
Web app. Sorry, web app.
Now you're confusing me. Oops. Let me stop. Okay, is Azure app. So we add this one, Azure app service settings.
Yep.
Okay, let's recreate again. New Azure Pipeline. Empty job. Call it. We just call it web deploy, and we call it web deploy. Meanwhile, can you double check on your side? What's the second task? Web deploy there, and we add an artifact. So this is our artifact, SQL2. Just click add, and we go to tasks and add a task, which is web app.
One is deploy and the other is service setting.
Web app deploy, Azure web app, add. Okay.
No, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this one. And we add also,
Sorry.
yeah, okay. Configure this and then we also add something.
Just add it now.
Okay,
Let's see.
scroll down, it's directly there.
This one?
Yes.
Yes, now it's better.
Okay.
So let's configure better this here. So Azure subscription. Again, choose this one, app type. Azure for Windows. App name is our SQL app settings. And that's it. Now we go here. Azure subscription. This one. App service name. Resource group. Okay. This is where I need to put this code, what we did. So if we go to our, this is where we put our connection setting string, yeah?
Okay.
So in our case, it's this one. Or we can just go back to here. So this is our connection string. We just copied it. So we just copy this. Copy. Oops. So we copy here. Paste. Yeah. So SQL connection setting. Okay, now save. Create, release. Web app deploy, all good. Everything is just the artifact we're using. Click create. Click create, and so pipeline is created. Let's go back there. It is in progress. If we click logs, so let's come back when it's done. So now as you can see that all the steps are completed and the release pipeline is completed also. And to check it, what we can do, we go to our app, go to overview, and this should give us the table in our URL. Let it load first. And if you just click that, hey, can you see all that? You can see,
Yeah.
you can see this our URL, HTTPS, so it is accessed. And if you can try, you can also access from, let me copy and paste to you.
Oh, shit.
Tell me, I'll put you in the chat.
Okay, loading. Yeah, it's working.
Perfect. So to reiterate that, what we can do here. So we create a new repository in Azure DevOps.
Yep.
We create a build after configuring YAML file. Then which created an artifact.
Yep.
A build artifact. We created a new release pipeline. We added 2 tasks in there. And added our connection string. We launched the URL from our database, from our web app, and it successfully showed the insert table. Yeah. So instead of using hard-coded username and password in our code, we use a connection string copied from SQL database to Azure Web App, and then we did a build and then release, and it was all working. I hope this is very informative, and please give us a like if you like it, and put any comments in the video. And in the meanwhile, we'll be working hard again to publish our next video very soon. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Umar.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.